Welcome to Teaching Your Teen to Drive Without the Stress. I'm Deb James, host of this edition and proud owner of Hills to Ocean Driver Training. Now my screen has just changed. There we go. So welcome. We're in an 8-week series. This is week 4. And this week we're learning from my mistakes. I'm going to share a little bit more of my blunders as a parent and what I wish I hadn't done and what I wish I knew. So this is where this is really born out of. When I was teaching my kids to drive, I wasn't a driving instructor. I was a youth worker. And I really should have known better, but I didn't. And I thought I was prepared, but I was very underprepared. Also back then I was a single parent, so I had one car, and if that car ended up damaged or off the road, well, it meant that I couldn't go to work, I couldn't get the kids to school, I couldn't get them to sport and other life activities. We depend on our cars. And I also didn't have the funds to pay for it. So I totally understand where parents are coming from when the kids say to me, my students say, oh, they won't take me because they're worried about the car. Well, rightly so. Like, yes, it is a just a material thing, but it's one of those essential tools that we have. So I totally get that. But anyway, before I go further, welcome if you're joining us for the first time. Love to have you here, and welcome for those that have returned. We love the fact that you're supporting us through this journey, and I hope that it's been helpful for you. If you do happen to miss one of the weeks, I always post the replays, and that will have hopefully my blunders edited out. But could I ask you a favor? If you've got any friends, family, co-workers that have teenagers that are about to start driving, or perhaps they are, could you please share this with them? I want to get these resources into as many hands as possible, because these are tools that I wish that I had as a parent. There's no, so on my website, you can jump on www.drivertraining, H2, the number 2, O for ocean.com. You can grab a free resource, no obligation there. I just want to be able to put the tools into your hands so that instead of your journey being stressful and unprepared like mine was, you will have the tools, and hopefully those 100 hours are no longer stressful and anxiety provoking, but they're actually enjoyable. 100 hours is a lot. Like, I was trying to work out before, how many movies would you see in 100 hours? You'd see over 50, almost 70 movies. That's a lot of time. But that's a lot of time for you guys to connect. So sometimes we lose sight of the big picture. We're asking our teens to come and do things with us, but here's the perfect opportunity. It's a win-win for you both. Okay, so if you've got some tools in your hands, you've got a plan of what you're going to do, it's going to make it so much helpful and reduce that friction. So if you could share it, I'd really, really appreciate that. Now, if you like this content, I do have a workshop that will be coming up probably now at this stage, early January or somewhere in January. We're in the middle of rebuilding our home, and it's getting exciting. So I'm filming from the little barn that we've been staying in. It's not really it used to be a barn, but it's been converted into a cute little, like a 1-bedroom Airbnb. Very cute before all our stuff arrived, and now we've got new furniture in boxes. It feels like a warehouse that I'm living in. But anyway, so we've got that coming up. So it's sort of putting some things on the back burner, but it's coming. But if you would love to be part of that workshop, do make sure, jump on the website www.drivertraininghh2o. You'll be able to grab the free resource, but you'll also then be able to drop your name into the wait list, and I can make sure you're invited to that workshop. It'll be less than a driving lesson. So I just want to give you value. But beside the paid stuff, there is also the free resource as well. So yeah, want to get that into your hands. So my story. So then here I am, a single parent, raising my two boys. My youngest was the one that was keen to start driving first, because I'd said to them both, you need to get a part-time job because you need to pay for 2 driving lessons before I take you out in my car. Now, I was also forgetting I'd gone out and bought a manual car for them to drive, because it was more common than what it is now. There's majority of my students are driving auto. And even the auto drivers, I would not say 2 lessons and then not check in what they've learnt. So you can easily start your young person driving without any lessons, as long as you've got a plan and you think about what is it that they don't yet know. So I wasn't even thinking of that. So here we were, 2 lessons in. I thought that was a good call. That was my big mistake. Plus, I was very unprepared. I've just grabbed the keys and jumped in. Didn't think about a single thing of what poor Jay didn't yet know. So here we are in the car. I hadn't checked. Has he set up his seat correctly? Can he reach the clutch with a full extension without it being overextended, that he's got a little bit of bend? So is his seat correct? Are his mirrors correct? Is his seatbelt adjustment correct? And the biggest thing, I hadn't even asked him what had he learnt in the lessons. So here my car is parked on a bit of a driveway that had a little bit of a slope. He had to reverse out of there. I hadn't even asked if he'd learnt to reverse. So the next thing, the poor kid, and this is my next mistake, Jay's got the car in reverse, and next thing to me, felt like we were flying out the driveway. Probably through anxiety and not feeling in control, my anxiety went through the roof. I've screamed at him, "Stop! What the hell are you doing?" And the poor kid has just gone reversing. Like, I hadn't even checked. Does he know how to reverse? Does he even know what to do with the clutch with reversing? Plus considering the fact that we've got a slope. So there's so many steps that they need to know before they can do that simple thing that we just take for granted. So we were supposed to be driving for a full hour. You can imagine. So it wasn't even 2 minutes in, probably under a minute, that I've started screaming at him, and tension was high, sky high. So you can imagine we didn't make the hour. We barely made half an hour, and we've pulled up and we both went opposite directions, did not want to speak to each other, and both of us, like, anxiety through the roof, and far from being a positive moment, far from being a great connecting time, it actually did harm. And I guess this is the big reason why I do what I do now. I can't bring back time, and I just want to be able to make your journey easier. So since then, I have become a driving instructor. Since COVID, my world changed, and I love what I do. And yet, when my kids were growing up, I remember saying, who on earth would do that job? And now I love it because I see it's an extension of youth work in the car. And it takes communication. It takes empathy. You've got to try and put yourself into their shoes and understand, what is it like for them? What was it like for you? What don't they know yet? So just always check in. So enough about me. What about you? Where are you at? Do you know? Have you started with your driving journey? Have you considered what is it that they don't know yet? Have you discussed with them? So at the start of each, and this is what we discussed a couple of weeks ago on the first week, make your plan. So before you even get in the car, make your plan, discuss it together. All right. So feel free, go back to week 1 and you'll be able to pick up those tips there. But like I said, if this is sounding like you and what would be helpful for you, make sure you do register for our workshop. Our winning name, we did have a poll that went out. The winning name is From Stress to Success: How to Teach Your Drive Without Losing Your Cool. So we will go over a number of things. One of the main areas that we're going to go over that and workshop is the idea of commentary driving. So we will talk about that further over the weeks. All right, so today, let's quickly jump into today. So today, I want you to think 2 watts, 3 R's. All right, 2 watts, 3 R's. I want you to think about that every time before you go out to drive. So a couple of weeks ago, I also talked about before you head out and even before you discuss with your team what you're going to do that day, take yourself away somewhere quiet and just do some deep breathing, get grounded, get ready to transition into that place, into the car, and imagine what you do want to happen. So imagine it being calm and communicating clearly and openly without the stress. All right, so I want you to think about the first W, the first what, is what have they learnt? So what do they know so far? Where are we at the beginning of this journey today? So that might be something that you ask them and find out, but then once you do know that and you've started some drives, just take a moment to reflect, okay, what is it they do know? All right, where are we starting? So that's the first W, the first what. The second what is, so what's next? All right, so say that you want to be able to get them to driving on the highway. So the first thing they need to know is how to change lanes. And even if you went back further than that, it would be how to use your mirrors, as to what will you see in your mirrors. And you could even go a step before that. Do they know where their blind spot is? So a blind spot activity that, again, we'll probably do in the workshop, but stand outside the car and stand in their blind spot. So their blind spot from the driver's seat will be where you can't see them in their mirrors. So on the left side, you'll be standing on an angle in the back passenger window, and then on the driver's side, pretty much just behind that side pillar, again in the back passenger window. All right, so if you can't see them in the mirrors, they can't see you. So that's their blind spot. So do that exercise. So there you go. So we've